Hey everyone, welcome to the show tonight. I'm Dr. Asatar Bear, my co-teacher here, Leah Schaefer.
Hello, everyone.
We've got a great topic for the show tonight. I mean, I'm assuming that you are human and you feel pain in your heart. Um, if that's not true, then you might not be able to relate to this, but the title is How to Use Your Heart's Pain to Catalyze Growth. And I feel like, this is a topic that we certainly me and Leah are very much dealing with, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and all we
yeah,
have is all we know is like what's relevant to us, right? Like all we know is what are we working on, and
yeah,
what's worked for us, and it's a struggle, right? Because this is, meditation. It's like anything, right? You learn something, and then it's up to you. How do you use it? What do you do with it? How do you apply it, right? And and that's where, of course, that's where the rubber meets the road. So that's what we're trying to do tonight, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great topic.
mm, yeah. It's if you have a big heart, or if you have access to your heart in any way, the likelihood of your emotional pain increasing is pretty much 1 to 1, I would say.
Yeah, right.
Um, so it's just part of the game, of having an open heart and of having access to our emotional body. And it can be quite difficult to balance the energies because the more the more love that we have in our heart, or the more that we open our heart to the stream of love, it's actually like the opposite side of that same coin is pain. And so you're going to actually feel that potentially more, from the more love that you have. So the balancing act between these two polarities that exist inside of us becomes really tricky to balance, essentially.
Yeah,
And I basically have hit this like new discovery that I think is really important to share with everyone. And um, it's essentially like I was reading um, some of the lectures from Hazrat Nayat Khan, and he really talked about how it's like when we have someone in our heart and we love that person, and that person does something that we don't like, or they do something to betray us, etc. um, it's extremely, extremely painful, right? First and foremost, it's really painful
yeah,
when that happens. And the thing is that we can totally attribute a lot of different stories to the pain because our mind wants to organize the pain. Um,
right.
but when we start to bring bitterness into our heart, or we start to blame ourselves for what's happening, like bitterness for the other person, or start to blame ourselves for what's happening, because that person is inside of our heart, that bitterness or that feeling, associated now with this person, it acts like poison. It goes right into your heart where this person lives.
Mm,
So it ends up doing more damage to you. So it's like, the pain is one thing, but the story that goes with the pain is another. And like the when we create that, like, we try to create a wall, we want to separate ourselves from the person, we want to push them away. And a lot of times we do that by making them a bad person. I'm talking about people that, are actually close with you,
yeah,
and we want to make that person like a black and white, bad person. And so we do all this stuff, but the thing is like by thinking in a way that creates a bitterness inside, that bitterness goes right where that person lives in you, and that person lives in your heart. And so it's just of extraordinary importance to kind of realize, like, am I reinforcing the pain I'm experiencing, or am I working on healing it, right?
yeah,
And so instead, the basically, like, the thing is instead of focusing on creating a barrier, I'm fully into boundaries, healthy boundaries. I'm fully into healthy boundaries. But like, instead of like creating like more pain in your own heart, what you can do instead is really bring any of the divine qualities that you like, that you need, like the medicine that you need the most, what you most need to hear, think, feel from, maybe you think from an outside source, right? Is to bring that energy into the pain directly. And that's essentially what we're going to work on tonight, because it's like it's not about forgiving the person. That's like almost like an after effect, if that is something you want. But like it is something where it's not about forgiving the person. It's about you not holding the poison and you not holding that in your heart. And so this
Yeah.
is just something that's really come to me that I really wanted to bring out tonight. Um,
It's a bit like that famous saying from the Buddha, where he says, anger is like a burning hot coal. And when you hold on to it, you're holding, you're, right? You're hurting yourself with that, right? Like you're holding this burning coal in your hand, and, you could let it go, right? You could release that. And, I
yeah.
think that we have this some kind of sense that like we shouldn't be in pain, like oh my God, I'm feeling this pain, and it's so hard, right? And that's wrong, that shouldn't be happening, oh, what can I do to make this go away, right?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, right, it hurts, my
I
God, I
don't
get it.
like it.
It's really bad. But like Hasrat Anand Khan has some really interesting teachings about this, right? He's basically like, you don't make your decisions around that, right? Like love is going to bring you pain. That's just the reality, right? Like anything that brings you that anything that brings change, right? I mean, love is one of these powerful things. It changes everything. Um,
Yeah,
Anything that changes you like that, anytime your life changes, there's going to be pain that goes with it. You don't make your decisions around that. You don't say, well, what's going to be the least painful way? You
yeah,
don't know that, right? You really don't get to
yeah.
know that.
And
Um,
there's no escaping pain while we're in existence. Like existence has
right.
pain. And
Yeah.
it's like and if you want to escape to heaven, like the best and fastest way to do that is to bring heaven into earth through your own body, through your own clay.
Mm.
And that's the thing, is like it's possible to do that. And so Asatara, like, why do you think it's possible that we do, like, so I was like thinking about it, because I'm like, I did a video and I'm like, yeah, just bring love or light into your heart. And then I was like, because I was putting it out on the internet, and I'm like, people would just probably think that's a bunch of bullshit. And like, I was like, but it's real. It's real. And I'm like, how do I explain that this is
Right.
real? Like that there's energies that are much bigger than we are, and that we can actually invoke those energies into our being. And so how, like, can you help me? Like, why and how is that real?
How do we convey that, right? I mean, like all of the important truths that we try to convey, right? Not, it's going to sound like nonsense. I mean, at least some of
Yeah,
the time, right? Like if you've never been in love, the kind of things that people say about love just sound
that's
like,
true.
all right, that's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's like the only really way that we can convey that is through an experience. I mean, I think that's why we teach
Yeah,
meditation,
direct
right?
experience, right? That's like the only way. It's like
Yeah,
people have to take a bit of a leap, I think.
yeah, right. You have to kind of,
Yeah,
we go into the vibe together, and
yeah,
what do you
yeah,
take from that? What do you experience in that? I mean, otherwise, I think we wouldn't be meditation teachers. We'd be poets or philosophers or something, right? Like,
right, right. And those, it's like, it's true too. It's like certain works of art trans transmit that energy. And like you
yeah,
stare at that work of art and you're like, whoa, and you feel the energy of that art, like beyond what it is, like these masterpieces that come into existence, like it's just like a picture of a man, just like, but it, like, it's just, but something about it, like the emotion gets captured, and it's like it creates like a transmission of that energy that's bigger than us. And it's like, and I think that's what we try to do here. Like our medium is meditation, that's our canvas essentially. And but I do want to be clear. We never want you to like have any kind of blind belief system. We want you to have the experiences for real. And
yeah.
I just always hear myself talk about my experiences, and I'm like, who's gonna believe this? Like, you know, like I hear myself, and I'm like, really? Like this is.
I think things
Uh,
resonate.
so
Things resonate even if you haven't had the
yeah.
experience. I mean, I remember this myself. I remember, see, well, I've been doing this for a long time, right? So since I was like a kid, but I remember, taking in these teachings and just being kind of like, wow. And like I thought I understood it, right? That was the sort of, I was like, yes, yes, I understand it. And then I started having these experiences, these mind-blowing experiences of unity. And I was like, oh, I understood nothing, you know?
Yeah.
I understood less than
Yeah.
nothing. I thought I knew something that I just had no idea. And now that I've experienced this, now I know that I really don't know. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Oh,
is one of these things.
yeah.
It's the bewilderment, I mean, like, because this
Yeah.
experiences are so big and so hard to convey, hard to even understand yourself what's happened, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, it's so true. I still even with these experiences sometimes have a really hard time believing, like when I'm really narrowed down in my own limitation or my own pain. I
Yeah.
have a really hard time remembering, it to me it's almost like remembering because it's like we're always connected to all the qualities that we know about, and it's like
Right.
almost like waking that part of ourselves up inside of ourselves and remembering that it's a part of us, right? It's like all a part of us. And it's like once that wakes up, it can fill us
Yeah.
beyond our limitation.
We were talking about this earlier and talking about this line from Hazrat Inayat Khan where he says, um, just as fire can either cook food or burn it, so is the effect of pain on the human heart. And
Mm,
it's
mm,
true, right? Sometimes pain just breaks you open, and you're just like, oh my God, right? And you feel so much, and it allows you to connect and to relate, and maybe it knocks you down off your high horse. Maybe it
mm,
it uh, takes away your arrogance and gives you humility, and maybe you see things that wouldn't have seen before, right? I mean, like that can happen, or it can close you down and make you even more armored, and you can be like, yeah, I knew everyone was shit or whatever, right? Like, I mean, it's like this, pain is a catalyst, right?
yeah,
But it can go either way,
yeah.
like it
That's so
doesn't
true.
it doesn't
Yeah,
always lead to a great place, and
yeah,
so I
yeah.
think, like, just thinking about that teaching and trying
Mhm,
to apply it and learn from it, right? Like, how can we grow, in a good way, right? Like, toward what we know is true of ourselves on the most fundamental level, right? How can our pain help us grow in that way and not make us bitter and disappointed
mhm,
and regretful
mhm.
and cynical and all of that, right? Because all of those are also possibilities, right? We don't have to always climb, we can also fall. So
Mhm. No,
but
it's so true. Yeah,
we
it's so
want
true.
to do better, and we don't want to, we don't want our spirituality and our spiritual practice to be like checking out and ignoring, the real stuff, right? I mean, like,
Mhm.
life gives us pain, like, if our practice is not going to help us
Yeah.
work with that, um, then that's not good, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we want, meditation should help you, right? I mean, it should help you on all levels. um,
Mm. Mm.
so
Well, let's practice some of this
all right.
together. We don't have to do it alone, which is nice. Um, so as you're ready, come into your seat and maybe stretch a bit, honoring your body, honoring where you are, honoring everything that you're feeling in this moment, even if it's uncomfortable, just honoring that this is part of your emotions. This is part of who you are in this moment. It's part of you in this moment. And those cries that come from our body and the cries that come from our heart, um, they want to be heard and listened to and felt so that they can move on. You know what I mean? Like that they can integrate and assimilate the experience, and heal. And so it's a big ask tonight. I'm going to be honest. Um, it's a real big ask tonight because I'm inviting you to listen to your pain. And so right away, you might feel it immediately just upon me suggesting it. You might be like, nope. That's cool. You can totally do your own thing. I can only read part of your thoughts, so don't worry. I'm just joking. Um, but that's the nice thing is like this is totally your practice. Do what you will. But the invitation is still here in this holding space, in this sacred holy holding space of this meditation this evening. And so maybe really start to feel and look at your pain in your body, wherever it shows up for you today. And then as soon as you catch even a glimpse of it, or as soon as you catch a feeling of your heart, meet both your heart and the dissonance that's inside of your being with your breath. It's already right in that moment when you breathe into the dissonance inside. It's right in that moment that you've already started to pay attention and pay love toward a part of you that's suffering. And depends if you're an inhaler or exhaler, which one will feel more comforting. But notice that, like, notice, does it feel really nurturing to breathe into this? Breathing into it in the sense of really meeting it with intention, meeting it with love. Maybe this exhalation feels better, like this exhalation of that energy kind of expressing itself or moving itself out, um, from the place where it's being held inside your body. And it's tricky, I'm not really much of the letting go type. I'm more of the let's assimilate, let's integrate, let's make fertile soil out of waste, right? That's more my style. But there is something about this expression that can come through on the exhalation. And so just feeling for yourself like what feels nurturing in this moment, even with the very beginnings of the practice. Because this right now, it's like you're being so brave for facing your pain. And then you're being kind by meeting it with your breath and your breathing. And then as you breathe deeply, um, you want to cultivate more and more breath. Think of your breath as one of your best friends. Not only is your breath, by inhaling and exhaling fully and completely, not only are you creating harmony on a very fundamental part, a very fundamental level, you're creating harmony despite the dissonance, right? Just with a full breath in and a complete breath out. And you want that fullness of breath to go into the depths of you, not just the surface. You don't want to hyperventilate. You really want to bring your breath all the way through the depth of your being. And I know that on the physical level, it's all through the lungs, but on the energy level, and you can really feel this, you can really push or kind of widen your whole torso, widen your whole body with your inhalation. And then with your exhalation, it's like, did I give everything I have? Did I give everything I have from my heart of hearts? Did I give every inch of my being toward expressing my love in one form or another? Maybe that's toward myself, right? And so the exhalation, a lot of it's natural, but you want to finish it. You want to give everything you have toward your own life, toward living. And it's like the grace of life, a whole new breath comes right in. This new life comes right in. And so as you're breathing this way, I want to invite you into your heart of hearts. Where is the core of your being? Can you feel it? Where is the very center of yourself? And as you feel for that, as you listen for that, you may be able to start to feel your own heartbeat. Or maybe you want to help yourself feel that, sense that by placing your hand on your heart or your other hand on your wrist or finding a favorite pulse point, just to help you attune more deeply with this part of you that is so powerful and so big and yet so little taught about, talked about, taught about. As being a fundamental center of yourself. And I want you to go real deep inside, really deep inside to the center of your heart and ask your heart, what do I most need right now? Like, what is the antidote to my pain? And then really listen. Don't listen to the stream of consciousness. Don't listen to your head. Listen deep, deep, deep into your heart. What is that? What is it that I most need right now for my pain? What is it that I most need right now to give me some relief, to give me a remedy? Really listen. And then whatever that energy is that you need, I'll list 4 different energies. So it could be light, it could be love, it could be deep stillness, deep peace, or it could just be really deep sacred connection to universal energies, like that feeling of belonging, that feeling of being held, enfolded in the eternal being of life. Maybe it's something else entirely, and that's perfectly okay. But really feel inside yourself, what is it that you most need? What does your pain most need? And that answer is going to come from the center of your being. And once you catch that, this is kind of where you have to dig. Once you catch that, I need this. This is it. This is what I need. This is where you dig and you say, with every heartbeat, I'm going to call that energy into the center of my being. I'm going to remember it in the very center of my being. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to amplify it with every breath that I take. Because you cannot feel anything that's not already within you, that's not already available to you. And with your breath, every time that you breathe, you can pull that energy from the center of your heart. You can pull that energy and make it bigger, calling on it to come to you, but calling on it within you as well. And it's like taking the lampshade off of the lamp. It's already there. We're just uncovering it, and we're amplifying it with every breath that we take. So feel it, feel the emotion of it, whatever you've chosen, and pull on it with every breath that you take. Make it bigger inside of yourself. Start to let your whole heart be filled from the inside out, like as if by tapping into it in the very nuclei of your own heart, that by tapping into it, it starts to spread. By breathing into it, you can make it bigger. You can make it start to weave through the fabrics of your muscles. The body keeps the score, right? So the let's change the fabric of our being, weaving it in and out of every part of your heart, every chamber of your heart with every breath that you take. And drawing again and again and again on the source of that energy in the center of your being. And now here's the real kicker. I want to invite you to breathe that energy into your pain. And just focus right into wherever your pain is inside your body. And just breathe that energy that you've tapped into. Breathe that energy in and out of the exact part where you feel the most tenderness. Where you feel the wall that you've built around your heart, where you feel the uncomfortable feeling of something not quite resolved, not quite right. And as if it's like a knot inside of you, breathe into it with this gentleness of unwinding that knot inside of you. Loosen the threads that are holding this pain in your body. Not with your head. Your head is being used to concentrate, but with this energy inside your heart, inside the center of your being, that's always there. Because that part of you that's in pain, it can't remember. It cannot remember these energies anymore. It's stuck, you know. So help it unwind, help it bloom with your gentle breathing and with this profound connection you have to all things. Just help it unwind, help it bloom. Feel it until it stops crying. If you like to imagine that same kind of energy embodied in, maybe it's a deity, maybe it's an archetypal energy that you know and that you love. But imagine it wrapping around you like a big cape. Like that, not only now are you working it from the inside, but it's like feel that. Let yourself be held. So it's like not only are you feeling and unwinding from inside, but you're also like recognizing that you're held universally, especially if you ask to be. You're so worthy. All right. And as you're ready, just thank your body and thank yourself for being so brave and for showing up. It's a big deal to show up for your own pain. And then, as you're ready, when you're ready, move your body and open your eyes. Mm. Mm.
Well, thank you. That really kind of got us off on the right vibe for the evening, And um, I was just thinking, as you were teaching, I grew up with Sufism, a Sufism of Hazrat Inayat Khan, but I also grew up Jewish, and the
Oh, cool.
Judaism, they have this nice saying, when you're going through grief and that grief is fresh and someone that's close to you has died, you're sitting Shiva. And I like that because it's like sometimes pain, or what all you can do is sit with it. And there isn't going to be some kind of magic bullet. There isn't going to be some kind of thing that's going to make it go away, right? It's there. And
Right. You try to escape it, go to the ends of the earth to try to escape this, right? So
right, and you
it's
can't.
there.
So
It's
you sit with
there.
it. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a good lesson, because a lot of time, that's so much of it, we're afraid of it, we're afraid of really feeling it, and so then we like resist it, we keep it at arm's length, we don't allow ourselves to really feel it. And there's all kinds of things that we do to keep it away. And one I'm thinking of is that phrase, I'm fine. you know. Now that does have its place. I want to stress that, you know, that
Yeah,
have its place because on an
right.
existential level and on a deep level, you are going to be fine in the sense that your heart can
Yeah,
contain any experience. Your heart can contain any pain.
yeah,
There's no emotion. There's no energy that is stronger than your heart, and that is a fantastic realization to get to, right? But you know, it's not good to if you say that without feeling it and without acknowledging it, you're
mhm,
using that as a you know, as a barrier, right? And you're
right.
using that to not get into it, and then that's not right, you know, like right? um,
Well, you'll have a heavier burden to carry with you,
yeah,
instead of processing that burden in any which way that you
yeah,
find helpful.
yeah. So I just
Because
thought, you know, that was really the energy that I got, like when you first started out, of just this, like, you know, when you said like, I invite you to just be with your pain, you know, and like what a great place to start, you know, like just to say, you know, I'm going to be with you. and 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 you stop fighting it so much, right? You stop saying, oh my god, why is this happening to me, and you know, this shouldn't be happening, and you know, and
Yeah,
what do I do to make it go away, and all this stuff, right? It's like,
right.
you know, it's given to us for some reason, you know, and um, so we don't, and it makes it worse when we're kind of wriggling on the hook like that, right? And
Mhm.
saying like, how can we make it go away? It would be better to just say, let's just accept it, that it's here for now, you know. Of course we want to work on it, right? um, but let's accept it for now. Let's acknowledge it,
Yeah.
and let's listen to it. Let's treat it like any experience and say, there's something of value in this here, because every experience in life has value, has meaning, has
Mm,
purpose. And, you know, we
mm,
don't, you know, we just want the positive ones, right? Oh, yes, let me get all the meaning and purpose from the good stuff, right? Not from anything, not from anything bad. I don't need
yeah,
that. Not
that would
me.
be great.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be wonderful. Just- But unfortunately, um, the life is hard at some certain points, certain junctures,
And it
and
doesn't
it
mean
hits
that
us
we've,
at different times.
yeah, and it doesn't mean that we've
Yeah.
done anything wrong. I mean, you know,
No.
we have the kind of, I think, primal part of ourselves that says like, hey, if you touch something hot, take your hand away, you know, like, because pain
Mhm.
is a signal, you know, like on a physiological level, right? And it's a signal that keeps us safe. It says, don't do that," you know, like
Mhm.
you're going to damage yourself. But that's not a great guide for us emotionally, right? Because like, you know, if you love someone and then, you know, they leave you and they break your heart, or maybe they just disappoint you, maybe they betray you, you know, or whatever, right? All these things are very common. I mean, you
Mhm.
might say, well, I'm not loving again, right? But is that really the right lesson? You know, like it's not,
Is
this
that
is
the
not a hot
lesson?
stone situation, right? It's a different kind of situation, you know, and we need
Mhm.
to see into that more deeply, and that requires more discernment, you know, and like the
Mhm.
pain that we feel emotionally and the pain from love has so much richness to it. I mean, I
Mhm.
guess you could say that of every experience. I've done a lot of welding in my life, and so I've touched hot metal a lot, like, you know, and I've burned myself a lot, you know, and I'm like, wow, each burn, you know, each gets you could savor it, you could learn so much from being burned. But like, I think that's especially true of the pain in your heart, right? I mean, like,
Mhm. W
there's just
Yeah.
so much in that, and some parts of that affirm things that are really important, you know, like,
Mhm.
wow, I love you so much, and this is why I feel
Yeah.
this pain, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
If you didn't care,
Um,
you wouldn't feel that way. You know, it
yeah,
wouldn't hit you so deeply.
and when when this life when we're done with this lifetime, it's over, but it's like, I mean, I don't really know. Obviously, I don't know what happens, but like it's like I'm not gonna be Leah again, right? This is the only chance I get to be Leah. And um it's like you can't escape pain. It's like part of life, right? And so it's part of embracing existence. It's part of saying, I'm alive and I accept being alive and I accept the opportunity of being alive. And I accept that that comes with good and bad because I am in existence, and duality is a part of existence so that it can create discernment, but it is not the depth of things, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when you come into the depth of things, that's when you can find that richness that we're talking about, because it's like sometimes pain can break open our heart even if it's made out of rock.
Yeah.
We can build the plaster around it and it can break open our heart. And I would say it doesn't make life easier, the further that you get with these capacities to work through and integrate your pain. Life doesn't get easier, but it gets fuller. You become more
Mm,
yourself. You become more yourself. Things become more rich, and it's because it's like no stone is left unturned. You've stopped oppressing your own emotion. You stopped bottling it up.
yeah.
You're letting all the things happen. You're letting yourself to be fully alive, to
Yeah.
experience life as Leah, as only I can experience life, this opportunity,
Right.
and so when we start saying we can't select it, we can't say I'm only going to feel love and I'm never going to feel pain. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And
Right.
so, yeah. And so it's like it's really an opportunity in that way. It doesn't mean like you have to excuse things. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have healthy boundaries. You should have all that. But the pain that is in your body, you have to tend to it. You have to care for it. And that's when you can find parts of yourself that have been deadened because you didn't unwind those knots inside.
Right. And what an opportunity that is. Oh, look, we have a comment here from our dear friend, Akbar Kudus. So
Pain is my pleasure.
I
Pain is
feel
my
like
pleasure.
this is a good kind of connection to just what you were saying, Leah, because it's like, what does it look like when you so fully accept the wisdom of that, right? That says,
Yeah.
I want to embrace every aspect of life and I want to learn and feel all of it. And then you might say something like Hazrat Nine Khan here says, right? Like, it's a pleasure to be able to have that opportunity, even if it comes through a very difficult, painful experience. I would not want to miss that opportunity. I would
Mhm.
rather have the pain and the growth than be
Yeah.
stagnant or be numb, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a really important point. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
so thank you for saying that, Akbar. And we have another comment here.
Oh, good
See,
to see you.
nice to see you too. Thank you for
Thank you for
coming
coming. I wish I knew how to pronounce your name properly. Thank you
up.
for coming. Um,
It's such a rich topic, and there's just so much here. I mean, I want to say though that pain is like you go through waves, right? Like there are times when that pain is so present, and I'm talking
yeah.
about the emotional pain, right? I mean, that's our.
Right. Yeah.
So there's times when that's really present. There's times when it's just really acute, right? Um, and then there's times where you feel a lot more distant from it, and maybe that's the time that you're tempted to say I'm fine, and maybe that's true, maybe it's not really true, right? Like maybe you're keeping it at arm's length. I don't want to suggest that that's always the case. I mean, you would know better than I, right? It's your pain.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I just know that like there we go through these times where we go deeper and we come back to the surface, and that's okay, right? Like I mean, big kind of pain is like there's going to be a kind of expansion and contraction, or there's going to be like a now I go deeper, now I go to the shallows again, or um, but what I've felt about this is that it's sort of like a flowing river, right? Like there's a
Mm.
certain amount of, maybe it's from a wound that happened many years ago, right? Maybe it's from something that happened in your childhood, I mean, like we all have
Mm.
these things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and these things can, they spiral around, you can feel that pain for years, and and but there it's like there's a certain amount of water that has to flow through your heart, right? And if you slow it down to a trickle, then it's going to take a long time for that to move through you. But if you open up the floodgates and you say, like, I'm going to just let this flow, right? And I think this
Yeah.
is really the opportunity that we have with heart rhythm meditation, especially because we're not trying to get beyond the pain. We're trying to like really open the floodgates of it and just trust, right? To
Mm,
actually build our faith in ourselves and in our hearts that, you know what, we can handle this.
yeah.
And, maybe not every time you sit down and meditate is the time to do that. There might be,
Mhm.
maybe you do it on a retreat, you approach it, you approach it with that intention and that respect. But you have I mean, I've experienced this myself that it's possible to just process so much, right? And you
Mhm.
do that on a very kind of non-rational basis, right? Like, not by categorizing it, not by analyzing it, not even by understanding it, just by feeling it, right? Feelings don't even have language attached to them, right?
Mhm.
It's not the rational faculties that you're engaging, it is the feeling faculties, right? And that,
Mhm.
by bringing in the breath and really focusing on your heart, right? Physically, energetically, spiritually, all of that, um, that you have this tremendous capacity to just let it flow, right? And to process it, like just like water purifies itself by running. So,
Mm.
like, you don't look for stagnant water, right? If you're not sure if the water is safe to drink, you look for running water. And so it's like
Right.
our hearts, right? Our hearts need that flow of feeling.
Mm. Beautifully said, Asatar. And I think let's go into the meditation, and we're gonna run maybe a few minutes over tonight because I want Asatar to really be able to have his time to meditate with us. As we said, the experience is the most. So,
Well, I'll try to get us there in a hurry then.
no, don't just.
All right. Well, so close your eyes and tune into your breath. And we always want to work on our foundation, always work on our basics here. Especially, I mean, this is just all the more true when you are really taking this intention to confront your pain and embrace your pain and feel your pain. You need a good foundation for that. So we'll start off by bringing your breath down deep into your belly. And as you breathe in, you're allowing your belly to just expand like a big balloon. Just allow your abdominal area, your whole belly to just open and expand. Take in that breath and then allow, as you exhale, allow your abdominal muscles to contract and feel your belly moving back toward your spine. So, this is deep breathing, this is belly breathing, abdominal breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, it's called all of these things. It's associated with relaxation and the physiological relaxation response. And so we want this, this is teaching us a lesson spiritually. Like, if we experience pain, let's relax into it. Let's allow it to be there. Let's not fight it, right? It's often the fighting of it that wears us out. Let's just relax and allow ourselves to be, allow ourselves to sit with it. And then work on making your breath slow. So just extend your inhalation a bit further. Allow that belly to just really get big. And then extend your exhalation as well. And just really breathe out more. Slow down your breathing. And this helps you to feel the energetic flows of your breath, to feel the flow of giving and receiving. Your heart is exchanging energy with the rest of the universe all the time. Inhale, taking in energy, and exhale, radiating energy. And then we'd like to make the breath both rhythmic and heart centered. So if you can, tune into the beating of your heart and bring these beats into sync with your breath so that you have the same number of beats on the inhalation as you do on the exhalation. You choose the number that feels right to you, but if you work on this and practice it, I would like you to get to 8 beats in and 8 beats out. And this makes a very slow, very powerful, very rhythmic pattern of breathing. And this is an incredible foundation. It makes your breath strong. And when your breath is strong and it's connected to your heart, there's just so much more than your heart can handle, that your heart feels capable, your heart feels energized, your heart feels that sense of, I can sit with this, I can be with this, I can feel whatever it is that is within me. Now, if you can't feel your heartbeat, that's okay, that's common. Maybe just place your hand on your heart, and maybe that gives you enough of a focus to start to feel your heartbeat, even if you can only feel the beats occasionally. That's enough. Just fill in the rest with your imagination. That's okay. If you listen to it closely and keep on trying over time, you'll feel it more and more and more. You'll get to the point where you don't miss a beat. If that's not where you are right now, that's all right. But we want the breath to be deep, slow, rhythmic, and heart-centered. So as you breathe, feel that your breath is feeding your heart, fueling your heart, making your heart strong, making your heart big, making the flow of feeling through your heart wider and deeper and richer. Now, the final step in this process is to really work on making your breath full. And for this, you're going to have to complete the breath and really work on squeezing out all of the breath as you exhale. And really squeeze all of your abdominal muscles. Really work on bringing your belly button to your spine. Squeeze out all the breath. And then as you breathe in, you expand your belly, and then through the sides of your body, and then all the way up into your chest. So you're doing now a combination of the two kinds of breathing, abdominal and thoracic. That is breathing in your belly as well as then completing the breath into your chest. When you make your breath full, you make your breath powerful. And this is a real skill. It takes time to develop. So I know I'm asking a lot of you by giving you these steps kind of blithely, as if they're easy to follow. They're not necessarily easy to follow. So you just do your best, and whatever you can get from this, even if you're like, well, I'm just going to breathe in my belly. That's the part I can do, right? That's okay, right? That's good. Whatever you have is good. If you've been doing this for a while, I just want to encourage you, keep working at it. Try and really work on all steps of this. It is working on your foundation. Now that your heart is big and energized and in the flow of this magnificent, full, powerful breath, this rhythmic, heart-centered breath, I just explore, just embrace everything that's there in your heart. Maybe pain is there. Feel it, embrace it, let it flow. Anything which slows down the feeling state, the emotion that slows down the flow, right? Like so many times we want to say, well, why do I feel this way? What exactly am I feeling? What words describe it, right? This is trying to put the river of emotion into little boxes. It doesn't want to be in boxes, you're slowing down the flow by doing that. And it's natural, our minds try to grasp the enormity of the experience. And it's okay, but every time you do that, you just return. You say, I'm going deeper. I'm going wider. I'm going to flow more. I'm going to dive down into the bottom of this endless ocean of feeling in my heart. I'm going to feel all there is to feel. The lessons will come later. The categorizations can come later. The words can come later. For now, let me just dive in and just feel. And it may feel like that flow of pain is endless. It may feel like it threatens to overwhelm you. You stay with your breath. Stay with the feeling. Stay with the flow. And put faith in your heart. Feel that your heart is greater. Your heart is bigger. That if the pain feels endless, that also means your heart is endless. Your heart is unlimited. Your heart is eternal. Wow. What a thing to experience. What a thing to experience of your heart. We experience our hearts as so fragile, so delicate, because that's true, right? Our hearts are so vulnerable. I mean, think of how you can be wounded by just a word, an expression, you know? Our hearts are so incredibly sensitive, but our hearts also have tremendous power. And the power comes when you unlock that flow, when you stop resisting it, when you open the floodgates. This is having faith in your heart. And it's a process, so we're just working on this together. We want to hold this and honor this. We want to give love to our hearts. We want to hold it in gratitude. Say thank you, my dear heart, my feeling heart. Thank you for all that you feel, all that I experience through you. And I have found that this is very helpful for healing, for integrating, for taking that pain and growing with it in the way that I want to grow, in the direction of wisdom and generosity of spirit and magnanimity, not towards smallness. I don't want to have the pain make me contract. I want to be big in my heart and in my spirit. Acknowledge the pain, embrace the pain, and even if you get there, be grateful for the pain. Be grateful for the opportunity for growth that pain represents. Be grateful because all experiences in life have meaning and purpose and value, as each one of us is the one being walking through this life of limitation, of manifestation. And in so doing, we help the one being to experience life as a limited being. That's a part of this whole journey. And it's vitally important. So when you're ready, you bring the meditation to a close and come back and open your eyes.
Mm. Thank you, Asatar. I could feel when you had us like widen the stream, I could feel how much parts of me were still so tense.
Mm,
Like there was all these parts that were still just like gripping, you know.
yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I can kind of unwind that because we kind of hold this fixated, like this fixation on our identity, which we have to. But then during times like this, we actually want to kind of loosen that and allow spirit to fully come in because it's like a rebirthing process, a healing and rebirthing process. And so that process of expanding the breath, I could start to feel more and more tension that I was like completely unaware of.
Mm,
And just like really letting that all melt, like letting it all into my whole self. So thank you so much.
nice. Wow. Well, you got a lot
Mm.
from it. I'm glad to hear that.
Somebody did.
Well,
Mm.
we have a nice comment here from very, very beautiful
Oh,
meditations and teachings. Thank you. Well,
thank you
thank you for
so
being with
much.
us.
Thank
Um,
you for being here. Meditating with us makes it stronger. So we appreciate you meditating with us.
yeah. So we
Mm.
we we here every week. Each week we try to choose a theme. If you have one that you'd like to hear us address, of course, we'd love to know about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Drop us a comment. You can connect with me on Twitter. You find Leah on Instagram, or if you happen to be in Tucson, you should take a yoga class with her. That's teaches a number of those every week. Um,
Yeah, thank you so much, Asatar. Thank you everybody that stuck through this one. I'm super proud that you
Good
did.
work,
So
everyone.
thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your night
We'll see
or
you all
day.
next week. Take care.
Happy meditating.